Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Modern Warfare in Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the brand new Renetti pistol, which is basically the Raffica 2.0. It is an amazing weapon, and I wanted to apologize in the beginning if you hear any screaming or banging or weird noises during the course of this commentary. That's because I'm recording it during a huge party that my neighbor is throwing while we're supposed to be in quarantine. Not my choice, but they can get corona if they want to. Let's hop into the in-depth episode. You can unlock this weapon for free by leveling up the battle pass. It really doesn't take very long. If you buy the battle pass, you get it almost immediately. If you're a free-to-play grinder, it'll probably take a couple of weeks. The Renetti is easily the best pistol in Modern Warfare, and I think it's much better than the Snake Shot 357 Magnum. As a matter of fact, I think the Renetti is near to the top of best weapons in the entire game. It's also definitely best with burst fire attached. The single fire mode is not as impressive, and what's surprising to me is that the Renetti is not only viable in regular multiplayer, but it's also godly in Warzone. So we've got an all-around very robust and versatile pistol here. You can one-burst people in regular multiplayer, and if you're running a Kimbo, you can one-burst them in Warzone. You got to be relatively close for that, but that's still a lot of damage for Warzone. It's kind of like holding a shotgun. So let's talk about the damage on this pistol, because it might as well be a shotgun. It'll deal 72 damage for a headshot. That is bonkers, and the lowest I was able to get it down was 50 for a headshot, so it's always going to be 2 to the head. Chest is 42 to 29, torso is 34 to 25, and the limbs is 33 to 23. What I want to point out is that the Renetti has utterly mind-bogglingly insane amounts of damage, and not just for a pistol, but like for any weapon in the game, that would be very high damage. It's enough to 2-shot kill to the head, or 3-shot to the body in regular multiplayer, and if you're running a Kimbo, you can 1-burst people in Warzone, or 2-burst them with just the regular gun itself. It's kinda scary, I think, but do keep in mind that shooting limbs will not do this. Shooting limbs is miserable. You gotta be hitting upper body, and preferably upper chest and torso. The rate of fire when in single fire mode is 325 rounds per minute, which is a little bit slow, actually, but when you equip the burst fire mod, which we'll talk a lot about today, the rate of fire of the burst is significantly faster at 450 rounds per minute, and the delay between the burst is 233 milliseconds, which seems like a lot, but for this game, it's not very much. A lot of the burst weapons in this game have longer delays, so it's going to shoot way faster and have less of a burst delay than most of the other weapons. When it comes to time to kill, it's not as nukey and fast as you might think. It is not the fastest time to kill weapon in the game. It's similar to that of a point-blank M4A1, but it's going to be a little bit slower than that of an MP5 or AUG or some of those 3-shot kill SMGs or like the double tap from the FAL and things. It's a little bit slower than those, but it's still very competitive and very fast. The take-home fact here is that the Renetti is extremely lethal. You absolutely can and will kill people with it very quickly, and you will die to it very quickly too. The 3-shot kill or 1-burst kill ranges are as follows. The base weapon has a range of 17 meters, which is impressive for a pistol. If you put the Mark 1 barrel on it, that's 23 meters, but you're still in single fire. When you equip the Mark 3 barrel, your range does go down slightly to 14 meters, but it's still very, very good for a pistol. And I put an asterisk there because I had difficulty controlling where my shots were landing, so I wasn't able to check if it was consistently upper or lower body. It may be a little bit longer than that, but still quite good. You can put a monolithic suppressor on and get like a flat 20%-ish boost, since that's how it works for all weapons. But let's talk about the aim down sights times, because this is another aspect of the weapon that I found to be surprisingly good, all of its handling components. The base Renetti will ADS in 200 milliseconds. The Mark 1's a little bit slower at 233, that's your heavy barrel. The burst does not affect your aim down sights time, so that's nice. The tack laser gives you about a 2-frame boost down to 167, also a good choice. The 21 and 27 round mags do not seem to affect aim down sights time at all, just minor movement speed penalties. The XRK speed grip, which is similar to Void or Stippled, is a good attachment at 167. It's just as effective as the tack laser. And there are 2 different stocks that you can equip for this weapon, the FTAC CS3 and the FTAC CSX, that are both designed to reduce recoil in various amounts. And neither of them seem to affect the aim down sights time in any way whatsoever, except I did add a little asterisk on the FTAC CSX because that appeared to change the animation for aiming down sights just a little bit. Sprint out times are going to be equally impressive. The base sprint out time for this weapon is 117 milliseconds, which is incredibly fast. If you run the XRK speed grip, it is going to be 100 milliseconds, which is, again, really, really fast. And the 5 milliwatt laser will take you down to 83 milliseconds, which will feel almost instant. instant. So you can go from sprinting to shooting very, very quickly with the Renetti. And when it comes to their min-max handling stats, the minimum aim down sights time I was able to get out of the Renetti is 116 milliseconds, and the minimum sprint out time is achieved with just the 5 milliwatt laser at 83 milliseconds. You don't need to stack the grip and the laser to sprint out very, very fast with this weapon. So the Renetti is probably going to be fast handling no matter how you kit it. I mean, I guess it's possible you could put a sniper scope on it in a stock and like put the long barrel and stuff, but that's not really how the gun is going to be used. That's not how everybody's going to go burst fire and speed stuff. So if you put the burst fire on, you can put the stock on, you can put a sight on. It's really not going to affect the aim down sights. And if you put speed, if you put just like 1 or 2 speed attachments on it, it'll compensate for literally everything, which gives you even more time to kill advantage with this weapon. And it's also nice to know that the recoil reducing stocks don't have much of an impact on your overall handling. So I think that's very nice. I run them very frequently with these weapons. Recoil when aim down sights is minimal inside of its 3-shot range. It's not gonna be an assault rifle. It's not gonna, beam people from super far away. But inside of its optimal 3-shot range, you're gonna have basically no recoil, and the hipfire spread isn't bad either. It's a very, very easy weapon to use, control, and master. The iron sights on this are more than good enough for your optimal range. I personally have been running a red dot sight on it just for nostalgia reasons, because I pretty much build it just like my old MW2 and MW3 Raffica, which is fun, and I'm just addicted to sights in Warzone, but you really don't need them. You can use the base iron sights with this weapon just fine, and it will be fantastic. They're actually quite good sights. Interestingly, the 21 and 27 round magazine extensions do not slow down your aim down sights time either, so I just tend to go for the 27 round mags. There's no reason not to use them. I mean, because you'll burn through your ammo really, really quickly with this gun anyway. Reload time is pretty fast at 1.08 seconds, given how many mags you have and how quickly you can kill people. Reload and downtime is going to be minimal. It's not a big concern. I don't think sleight of hand or anything like that is going to be necessary. Do keep in mind that wall bangs are going to be very rare because pistols just don't have very much penetration power in this game. So I really wouldn't try to shoot people through walls. I mean, I guess you could try with FMJ, but that's not really the point of this gun. And my overall assessment of this weapon, if you can't already tell, is very positive. The Renetti is okay in semi-auto mode. In semi-auto mode, it's like the other pistols, I can use it, but it's amazing when you unlock burst fire. It takes a while to grind up, it's annoying, but once you get burst fire, this gun becomes just downright awesome and a top tier weapon. The weapon isn't just viable, because Infinity Ward's later in the cycle, they're adding the goofier guns. It's not just like, oh, okay, I can use this, I can kill people, but it's actually good. Not just in regular multiplayer, but also in Warzone, and it's good in both modes, whether you want to run it single burst or Akimbo burst fire. Really, there's almost no combination of this weapon except, I guess, the semi-automatic mode that's not good. I am probably going to try to junk all of my overkill classes and use this plus Ghost. I have the plain Jane overkill class in Warzone so that I have my AR and my sniper. I might just chunk overkill, take Ghost, and I'll have a sniper and probably the Renetti or Raffica 2.0 as my backup, either Akimbo or just the single burst aim down sights, depending on what I need. In Warzone in particular, I would say it is probably overall better Akimbo. The time to kill, because you have to factor in a burst delay, is a little bit slower than what you want for a primary weapon if you're just doing the single fire. But with Akimbo, you can one-shot drop people, and you can spam them, and you can deal a lot of up-close damage. It's filthy if you get a headshot too. I've been talking to some other YouTubers and commentators on this. They tend to prefer the Akimbo snake shots, so I guess I could say it is debatably worse than the Akimbo snake shots. I personally have found the snake shots to be somewhat unreliable in Warzone, whereas this has given me a good experience, but they're both very good. As a matter of fact, the weapon is so good, I would not be surprised if the Renetti catches a nerf sometime soon. If somebody in Infinity Ward just decides that this gun is too strong and it needs a nerf, that would not surprise me at all. And I've got two setups here for you at the end. One is the accuracy setup. This is your standard aim down sights. You can run the Mark III burst barrel attachment is what it is, the monolithic suppressor, XRK grip, the FTAC CSX stock, and 27 round mags. You don't really need a sight on this. If you are having problems with the iron sights, I would probably drop the monolithic suppressor and go with a red dot sight. It'll be a little bit snappier ADS, and you're so close, you're not really hiding from people with the suppressor. And then there's the I don't want to go to heaven Akimbo burst fire setup, where you can become the god of shipment and shoot house and all the little maps and cheese people like I do in Warzone. You still want to run the burst mod, you want to run the monolithic suppressor, 5 milliwatt laser, Akimbo, and 27 round mags. because very few of these attachments have any effect on Akimbo performance whatsoever, and the 5mm laser is an insane sprint out bonus booster, so you're pretty much at a 100% bonus performance Akimbo weapon here, and you can just spam. I have found that it doesn't matter whether you do alternating shots or just all at once on this one, it tends to really perform the same. Personally, I go for the firing both guns at the same time. I like to get really close to people in Warzone, right up in their face and burst them down, but it's totally okay to alternate as well and just have continuous fire. Guys, that is all for this episode of In Depth. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.